I had 31 to 43. And you guys might want to take a couple definitions down because I forgot 3 on the handout. And the first one is Chief Executive Officer. And I said the role of being responsible for operations of the firm. And leadership, the position to manage a group towards business objectives. And tall organizational structure, the many levels of hierarchy, the top being the CEO.
What was leadership again?
Leadership was a position to manage a group towards business objectives.
Give the tall organizational structure.
Many levels of hierarchy, the top being the CEO. Alright, and then we have empowered, which in a sentence, I might not have that equal with me, but he allowed them to take on more positions, allowed more flexibility within the positions, since it's like a tall organizational structure, he allowed more flexibility with each level of hierarchy. And middle managers, the middle of the tall structure, who's responsible for handling or monitoring activities. And total quality management, a management approach to involve all employees in improving skills. And benchmarking, which is to measure the progress of the business by comparing it to standards. And the Kaizen philosophy, which is the Japanese business philosophy of continuous improvement in all factors of the business. And it says they remain profitable, which means they continue to make money after all costs are deducted. And brand loyalty, Royal Danish Bearings continue to use the quality brands for their products to maintain quality and customer satisfaction, even when they started to go under a little bit. And gross profit margin, it's the measure of the company's profitability expressed by a percent, and it can be found by gross profit divided by sales revenue times 100. And net profit margin is the company's profitability after costs and tax expenses are deducted. Expressed as a percent, it can be calculated by net profit divided by sales revenue times 100. And also I thought on line 34 when it talks about adopting management techniques, it's just meant by mimicking other existing management methods, and he didn't come up with these on his own. Alright, and then for potential questions, I have a couple and I just...
Wait.
Oh, do you need me to repeat anything?
No, just so we can write it on.
Isn't it on the
I
sheet?
have it on there, on the handout.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so we can have it all. You know, while you guys are writing, there's one thing that I want to say. You guys flip over to the second page, line 34. It says, although the company maintained a tall organizational structure, Valdemar empowered his middle managers. Is there a conflict here?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's like a waste of how efficient the thing is. It means like the middle managers are going to him instead of the guy above him, and it means that he's probably bogged down and you can't help as many people out as it's meant to be if it's tall.
Good, because typically with tall, what do we think of?
He goes to the next guy up. He doesn't go to the CEO. He goes to like the manager of this branch.
Right. And tall,
The
is it
balls.
a newer
Manager.
trend of management or old school?
It's old.
Yeah, old school. And so it is. It's one person bogged down. When he says, although the fact that he empowered his middle manager showed that he was a little more progressive in the style of management than some might be. Okay? So it's kind of showing him in a little bit of that visionary that we saw at the beginning of the case study.
I don't think I'm ready yet. is identify the advantages of utilizing total quality management in Royal Danish Bearings, and I just kind of outlined some potential vague ways to go with it, but do you guys have anything? Scott, should we look at it? You, Scott.
The cube one.
Job enrichment.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
You're the smart one.
Scott, Christensen, do you have anything that's not on there?
It could possibly add to the family factor that they talk about in RDB, even though we cover that in here. But if everybody's coming together to work on their skills, that makes it more of a close-knit environment and culture inside the business.
Anybody else?
Say a little louder. Someone remind us what TQM is.
Quality management.
So the concept behind it.
All employees for group skills.
Right. Where's the inspection happen?
Every
step
part
of
of
the
the
way.
process.
Every step of the way. So if there's a problem with the water bottle, we stop at the lid manufacturing process, not at the end. Okay. So it does. It empowers more people, more motivation, more employee buy-in, like what you said about the family.
And saves costs too.
It saves costs, although when? When does it save you
That's
costs?
At
advanced.
the end.
That's higher
Yeah,
thinking.
after you've put the investment into getting it set up to be TQM, because it is a high initial investment. Good.
The second one's distinguish between gross profit margin and net profit margin.
Come with me to get my tires changed.
Yeah.
Sam, do you have anything to say about that one? It's on the back.
Rachel like the new clean car. Blaine really like
I don't have anything that's not on there already.
I got an air
Okay.
freshener.
So I'll just go over what I said. Gross profit margin is a good measure of where the value or the added value is, and it's found after you deduct fixed costs but before tax and any additional costs.
I think that's gonna be on the IV test.
And net profit margin is found after you deduct fixed costs, taxes, and any additional costs. And you don't want the gap between gross and net to be too big because then there's too much overhead.
Before you go on though, let's look at one thing where it says, however, financially gross and net profit margins were lower than previously. Is that a problem?
Well, it may not be a problem, it's not great.
Okay.
It's losing profitability.
Okay. If you look before, on that very first line, it says RDB remained profitable and maintained brand loyalty. So what's going on here, Tom?
It's losing sale furniture.
So you can remain profitable and have your profit margin go down
Yes.
by
So what
losing
have they done
sales?
the past
Yeah,
2
you're
years?
gonna be operating at a different scale. It's probably a small goal,
How are you operating at a different scale?
because you're making 1 million instead of 5 million
Okay.
a year.
Other thoughts on this? There's something here. There's a disconnect. What's the disconnect?
I was like trying to think of like if I don't know, the price goes down, but also like how much it costs to make everything goes down. It's still kind of level, but you're not making as much profit.
Wages could be going up, or what else?
Costs. Or
Which would
variable
be-
costs.
14
Labor
days.
costs, material costs.
14 days to what?
Okay. What could that incur with pricing
It's like 12.
strategies?
Increase the price of
It's
costs.
12.
Huh?
They have to increase the price to take more costs.
Yeah.
14. Oh, yeah.
Good.
Are you sure? Gotta get on the 24th.
Alright, ready to move on?
Yes.
And then justify which method of management is better for a tall organizational structure. And I just gave ideas for benchmarking since it's already like it's like a standard and it's already more strict like tall organizational structure. But does anybody have anything to add on to that?
What are the,
Tom, me?
Isn't tall
Yeah, it is a type of
organization
structure.
the type of management it
What?
is? Like,
Oh.
when you say it's a tall organizational structure, isn't that the type of management
Yeah.
it is?
Wait a
So,
second.
what are you asking?
I don't-
Yeah.
I think you meant to say which method is best for RDB, and you get the answer instead of saying that.
The management to go with the structure is what I meant.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Dylan, what do you need to say?
It's kinda already on there.
Some of you guys are being kind of rude.
No, it is though, I don't mean,
Would it be like
But then we can think outside the box, because the whole point is for
laissez-faire,
us
that
to
kinda
all put our
crap?
heads together.
Yeah, and these were kind of vague, so I thought we could go off
that
more.
was just fluffy.
what's the main one? Autocratic.
Laissez-faire, autocratic,
Democratic.
laissez-faire, democratic. We saw paternalistic, which is what we're seeing a lot of people refer to that. I guarantee there will be a question on management style in here. And what they might be
And then
asking
who's
is
gonna be
what
last one?
management style you would recommend with the switch. Remember how they're trying to lower their, decrease their factory size. So if they decrease their factory size, what style of management would lend itself best to that change?
But in the process of changing it, because
That might
in
be
the
one
process
way.
you want like autocratic, because you don't want people doing it how you want it done like that. But if you're talking about with like a small amount of people, you might want like more laissez-faire, you know, work how they want to work and get it done.
Right.
but if you're moving to a different country, maybe they think a little differently. Laissez-faire to us,
Yeah.
we understand it better, maybe
They
they
wouldn't do
need
well.
that kind of push to
China.
manufacture.
Also with laissez-faire, you've got to make sure that you have management that's skilled enough. If you've got a high-level engineer that might not understand the
Yeah.
financial component, then you can't necessarily have a laissez-faire situation.
Yeah, but you're downsizing a lot, so you're obviously going to be keeping the elite and getting rid of the weak.
And that is something that you would have to consider too, and
Well, that's-
potentially recommend is additional training for those elites, plus fair compensation.
That's not necessarily true, because if they're moving to India or China, they're not gonna take all their Danish people and just send them to India or China or wherever. They're gonna hire somebody there, which is why what they're going for, the low labor costs. So they might not be skilled, and they're just
Do you think it's in their best interest to hire only people from there?
from where.
It just depends
Yeah.
on if they're going there purely for low labor costs, then for like the assembly line people, yeah, they can do
probably
that.
the lowest.
But they're gonna bring the important people there.
And perhaps partner with someone who is there of a high level,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Do we see management conflict of styles between, what's so funny, Dylan? Between Anna and her father?
Yeah, that's the whole point of the case study.
So, of what style do you think Heinrich, or who's the dad? Valdemar.
Voldemort.
Valdemar.
It's, they're all the same name over there.
Heinrich Voldemort.
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 Hitler.
Oh no.
Valdemar, what style?
Paternal.
Yeah, and give us a definition of
Never been
paternalistic, Nat.
Paternal
He
leave.
feels like a
Well,
father
that's
to the
maternal.
employees, so he's kind of bossy, but he also loves them.
Yeah,
Get Tommy. in
okay,
there.
and Anna would represent which style, Megan?
There he is.
More of a democratic, I guess.
This is a 7 on the IB test.
I will advise you guys that on this one, I think it would be fair, it's really hard to recognize Anna's style of leadership. I've done a lot of reading that says she could very well be autocratic if you talked about the fact that she's pushing ahead with her plan, she's not taking into consideration other people's ideas, she's got her education, she's got her opinion, and she's moving ahead. However, we haven't really seen her in any management situation. You could just as easily argue laissez-faire. When you take a stance on her management style, make sure that you back up and support and give examples of how she is representing the style that you're talking about.
What did we say for Anna?
I would say she could be any of them.
Oh.
What I would expect is that maybe they'd give you supplementary information, maybe a situation, and then ask for her to come out at that time. Okay? If you guys think something is funny, leave. Both of you. Okay. Other comments?
like, because a lot of companies are starting to steer away from tradition and try to power forward and like survive in the economy and find new ways to do so, which kind of like goes with the overall importance of it, because it's just showing like the background of why this company is so important to like people who own it and like the country and how they're taking it out of its comfort zone. That's about it.
Good. Any other questions? All right, let's give Montana a hand.
I think it's been like less than 5 minutes.
Okay, pause it so that I don't have to.
There it is.